and welcome to Amanda's Trying, where sometimes all we can do is try and get through a day, and that's okay. I'm Amanda, and today I am going to go into detail about the process of my jaw surgery, how I got diagnosed with the jaw deformity, what the process leading up to the surgery was like, the actual surgery, and recovery. Although, depending on how long that takes me, this might be split up into 2 videos. I'm trying really hard, I promise. But all that I could do today was cuddle my dog and cry. I'm finally making another video. In April, beginning of April, I made a video and I was like, I'm gonna be so consistent. And then I haven't made one since. I am just feeling a lot better in general and hope that I can start doing much more regular video uploads, so keep an eye out for that. So that is why we have low expectations of ourselves and others, everyone. Please take these life lessons and live by them. So getting into my jaw surgery, I've referenced it kind of in passing before because it is pretty interconnected with my TMJ disorder, which I've made several videos on. So if you haven't seen those, I'll link it up here. But my jaw deformity basically just stemmed from the fact that the left side of my jaw grew more than my right side for my bottom jaw. And so all of my teeth were misaligned and my jaw wasn't centered in my face. It was literally pushed off to the side. I didn't realize this because it wasn't something I really noticed from like feeling or looking at the way that my bottom jaw was, but when I actually got to the surgeon, he mentioned that my upper jaw was a little bit too far back and was also smaller than it should be, and so the surgery ended up being on both my upper and bottom jaws because they both had issues. So that was fun. So jaw deformities run in my family genetically. On my dad's side, most women, like my aunts and my cousins, a lot of them have had jaw issues. Several of them have had jaw surgery, but their process was in Brazil and it was years before mine, so they probably had a different experience. I was aware of the fact, my mom and I were both very conscious of the fact that jaw deformities run in the family, and so we were keeping an eye on my teeth to see if anything would come up. And when I was in middle school, I noticed that my teeth didn't seem to be aligning. My upper and bottom teeth just like were slightly off, and I hadn't noticed that before. And I mentioned it to my dentist, and even though he knew my health background and the fact that jaw deformities are a thing in my family, he kind of just laughed it off and made like this flippant comment about how like I'm getting to the age where I'm starting to be insecure about my looks.
Take a deep breath. 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 I'm a beach.
Did you put shoe polish on your eyes? I never understand you women.
God, eyeshadow, man.
That's makeup? I would take that off. That looks...
I was only 12 or 13, but I was like to my mom, that was the most ridiculous thing. I don't want to go back to him again. I want to find a new dentist. And I'm really proud of myself for that. Because as soon as I went and told my new dentist about what I noticed in my with my teeth, and then also what the family background was, he immediately was like, yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, for sure. You have a point here, and immediately took it seriously. So another life lesson for everybody here is that if your doctor or health professional of any type ignores an issue that you bring up or a concern that you have and doesn't do what you feel comfortable with, whether that be looking into things or getting tests done, whatever, go find a second opinion. It is unfortunately part of the system, but because so many people are overworked, they're going to try to pass off concerns unless you really push. That's what I've found anyways. So if somebody isn't taking you seriously or isn't willing to look into something, then go and find somebody who is, because there are people out there who are willing to care. You just have to look for them. When my dentist, my new dentist, he immediately was like, okay, I work closely with a surgeon who does only surgeries on jaw deformities. He does like over 100 of these surgeries every single year. We will get you connected with him and make sure that we're keeping an eye on this, and we'll get this treated. And I was like, perfect. Let's get this all sorted out. And then they were like, but we can't do anything until you're done growing. And I was, like I said, 12 or 13. So I still had many years of growing ahead of me. And so basically I just had to wait and let my jaw grow and become more and more deformed and misaligned. Because if you have the surgery while you're growing, then okay, yeah, it's aligned for like that one moment, but then your jaw keeps growing and then it'll become misaligned again. So there is very much a logic to it and a need to wait. But you know, then existing as a teenager or really just as a human being, having this like knowledge in your head, like I have a jaw deformity, and then trying to like be okay with your with yourself. Like there was a lot of insecurities. Every picture that I was in, I just saw my jaw, and other people didn't really notice it, but it didn't matter to me because that was all I could see when I looked at myself. So it wasn't super fun waiting it out, but it was necessary, and I did my best coping with the insecurities that came with it. So as we were waiting for me to stop growing, every time I went to the dentist, they would measure my teeth, measure how misaligned they were, and the idea was that after there was a full year where the measurements stayed consistent and my jaw and the misalignment didn't change, then that would mean the jaw had stopped growing, and then we could get started on the process of actually preparing for the surgery. But while we were basically just waiting for my jaw to stop growing, my teeth did not know, oh, like, we can chill because there's a surgery coming. And so my jaw got more and more misaligned, and dang it, I was gonna... So what was happening, right? This is how normal teeth... Wait. I'm not a dentist. I don't know what's going on. It's good enough. Okay, so this is normal teeth, right? But my jaw was shifting to Okay, sure, you're right. Right? This is exaggerated. But it was like this. And so, as you can see, my teeth only touched in like two spots, like in this back and then right here. So chewing and even just like resting your mouth was really difficult because your teeth couldn't like rest on each other and there was nothing there. And so what my teeth started doing was trying to compensate for the mess that my jaw was. And so the teeth started to all like bend inwards so that they could touch each other and support each other. And so it just added to the joy of the process because there's just a lot to have to fix. On top of my jaw now, my teeth were a mess because they were compensating for my jaw. Instead of having an overbite or an underbite, I had a crossbite because half of my teeth were an overbite and half of my teeth were an underbite. It was lots of fun. The reason why we decided to go through with the surgery because it's not technically an absolute necessity to have surgery. Some people just live with it. And if it had just been a cosmetic thing, like just that my face looks a little weird, we wouldn't have gone through with it. Or at least my mom would have maybe said, like, when you have money, you can pay for it yourself. But there was the risk of more and more health issues, as I mentioned. Like, my teeth were trying to adjust for my jaw, and they weren't hitting at the places that they were supposed to, and teeth in the front were taking a lot of pressure that your molars are built for and created to sustain. So when your front teeth, which are meant for really just ripping stuff apart and not doing a lot of the dirty work, are being forced to do dirty work, there's a risk that they're gonna get chipped and broken off because they really can't sustain all of that pressure. And connected to that would be nerve damage and chronic pain, and I have chronic pain anyways now, but not in my teeth and my mouth, and so that would have probably been my reality if I didn't have surgery. So there was a lot of reasons to get surgery, but for me and for my family and my mom who was paying for the surgery, the main reason we decided to go through with this very intense and long process was because of the future health issues that then I would have for the rest of my life. Most likely, they can't guarantee anything, but most likely would have had for the rest of my life. So once I had for sure stopped growing and they had confirmed that I was going to go through with the surgery, I got my braces put on. So I was in my second year of university. I was like 19 years old, and I was working with my surgeon, and then my surgeon was flexible enough to work with a local orthodontist because my surgeon was actually from the same place that my TMJ specialist is in. I don't know why all of the jaw specialists are in this one city that's an hour away from where I live, but usually they work with orthodontists in the same city. But that just would have been a lot to have to keep driving back and forth an hour each way. And so they were flexible enough to say, yeah, okay, we're gonna work with somebody who is local for you, which was really helpful. I had regular appointments with my surgeon still every couple of months, and they would check in person to see how I was progressing with my braces, but I also was going and getting my braces tightened and adjusted at my orthodontist, and they would send every scan, every x-ray, every piece of progress to my surgeon. So there was a lot of communication between the two of them, and from my end it seemed to work really well, and they were really dedicated to communicating well so that I could get the best care possible. So I'm grateful to everybody through that process for sure. So basically what was happening with the braces was that they were adjusting my teeth so that after the surgery they would be aligned. Basically putting my teeth back where they were supposed to be, or where they would have been before they started adjusting to my jaw deformity. But what that meant was that my misalignment basically got more and more, not enunciated, but more and more obvious, because my teeth weren't covering for my jaw anymore. And so it just became really obvious, at least in my head, that my teeth didn't align the way they were supposed to. So it just added to my insecurities. I had braces for 2 years, so I started when I was 19, and then I got the surgery when I was around 21. And for everyone it's different depending on how much your teeth have to be moved, and how quickly they move, because everybody's teeth respond to braces differently. For me, it was 2 years. For some people, it's not as long. They initially told me it should be about 1 year before you're able to get the surgery, but that is always an estimate, and I always take more time. Everything about me, just all of my health issues, I don't know, it always gets extended. I'll just talk about the surgery itself, and then I am going to make a different video just talking about what recovery looked like, because there's a lot. And I just, right, pacing and planning, I need to be intentional about that. So the surgery itself, I had it in 2018. It took 3 hours. I was in surgery for 3 hours. I was in it happened in a hospital by my surgeon, who had been obviously with me and keeping track of my progress the entire time. I was under general anesthesia, which meant that I had a breathing tube. You don't breathe on your own when you get put under with general anesthesia, so there is naturally a higher risk when you are unconscious to that level. Like I mentioned before, the surgery was on both my upper and my lower jaws. So what they did was, for my upper jaw, they cut, it was all done interorally, which means it was all done inside of my mouth. So I don't have any scarring anywhere that you can see. Everywhere they cut was inside of my mouth. So like, they cut under my nose, but it was like under my lip there. They put a metal plate in my upper jaw to widen it, and they brought it forward so that it was in the correct positioning. And then for my lower jaw, they cut out a piece from my left side because that side was longer. That side was longer than my right side, and then moved the jaw to align with my upper jaw, and then screwed everything in place So I have a bunch of metal permanently in my bones, but it's not enough to like set off metal detectors or anything, so it's pretty chill. And that was surgery. So I will give my song recommendation now and try really hard to get part 2 out as soon as possible, because I'm sure everybody is just so excited to hear more. But my song recommendation for today is a song called Girl in the Mirror. It's by Hong Jin Young and it's featuring Frawley. And I mentioned throughout this video the insecurities that I had growing up and moving through my teen years, and just honestly through this whole process having braces. And then I'll talk in my part 2 about like the recovery process and my facial features changing. Like there's just a lot to try to be okay with my own body and with my own face. I really didn't like how I looked for a large part of my life. And so this song is just, you know, those classic feel good about yourself, be confident in yourself. And yeah, it's nothing new or groundbreaking. Most of these songs don't give you these new secrets to the universe, but they're reminders of truths that we so easily forget. I hope that this song brings comfort and confidence to everyone, no matter what you look like, no matter what health issues you have, no matter if your body is where you want it to be or not. No matter what, no matter your gender, no matter your age, no matter what, we all owe it to ourselves to love our body where it is right now, because it's working hard for us. It needs our love and our understanding more than anybody else's. So yeah, we owe it to ourselves. Anyways, that's part 1. I will be back soon. I promise. Soon. With part 2. I'll see you guys next time. Soon.
And when I know that she's been feeling low, even the bags under her eyes are filled with cold. She is perfection. Ah, what a beautiful reflection. She looks just like the wonder of my dreams.
A regular deformity. Okay, anyways, but okay, but anyways, but their process was in the States, not in the States. Wow, what? It's the worst thing being a fun patient, because I just want to have a normal, boring case, and it doesn't happen a lot. And if my math is correct, I should have been around 21. What? Okay, whatever. Doesn't really matter. You guys don't care my exact age. Sorry, I'm just imagining the surgery. That's a weird image. Okay.